Hello and welcome to the Fit for Life podcast with your host, Alan Fitton. In this podcast, I will be covering fitness-related subjects and my experiences to do with nutrition, building muscle and weight loss to name a few, and how, above all, to keep fit for life. Hello and welcome back to the Fit for Life podcast with your host, Alan Fitton. We've got a guest today.
My name's Jake and I am aspiring PE teacher who has a background in health and fitness, physical education and bodybuilding.
Yeah, fantastic. Also, not so much, you're not a big fan of that now, are you?
No, become quite desensitized to fitness for a period of time.
For obvious reasons, because it's very in-depth, isn't it? So you've just said that you're aspiring PE teacher, you're into physical education and stuff. So what are you doing at the moment?
So at the moment, I got back from travelling in May. So I've been back about 2 or 3 months now. So I'm sort of in like a transitional phase through like just working with my dad, gardening, sort of counting down the days till I move to Leeds. And from that, I'll be doing my PGCE, which is my teaching qualification.
Exciting.
Yeah, can't wait.
I bet you can't wait, mate. So let's get straight into in-depth and things here. So you've got a massive interest in obviously fitness and health, hence to the career path you're going down, what you're starting with, and also your bodybuilding stuff you've done. So what lit the fire for you? What got the cogs turning? What's your thing that got you?
I think from a young age, I was always pushed into sports by my dad. So I played football, cricket, did a bit of judo. So through that, I was always physically active, and I knew that's sort of what made me happy, and I wanted to try and make a positive impact on like people's lives. So you sort of put the 2 and 2 together and you sort of get maybe going into PE teaching. Like I was never particularly great at sports, but I always had that sort of had that drive to be like bettering myself every day. So that's when I fell in love with the gym when I was about 17.
When 17, right, okay. Yeah, a bit like me with sports really. I had 2 left feet. I was always like horrendous at sport. Have you always been quite always been quite fit?
Yeah.
In retrospect, quite in shape? Or?
Yeah, I was always quite like physical. Like I was always playing in defence, say in football and judo. I was pretty good at it.
Yeah.
But more from a like strength sort of like I was fast, I was strong, whereas I maybe didn't have like the technical abilities of other people in my teams.
What age did you start getting into judo? What was it?
Pardon?
What age did you start getting into judo?
I got into judo when I was 12 years old.
Oh, Christ. Right, okay.
But I only did it till I was about 15, so I only did 1 or 2 competitions, but I think it sort of built like a foundation of fitness. Like, you know, you're rolling on the mats with people 2-3 days a week, playing football every day at school at weekends. So sort of developed like a health, fitness related sort of components.
Yeah,
taking forward.
Oh, well, what did a lot of the judo entail? I know nothing about judo here. So the floor is yours, mate. Take it away.
So on Wednesdays and Fridays, we'd go down to a church not too far. Do you know where Hillside and Birkdale Station is? There's like a church in between on the crossing. Yeah. So we'd go there, put the mats down, we'd learn different techniques. We'd do something called like randori, which is sort of sparring. Okay. Like sparring stood up. So I think for that, it sort of gave me that drive of like, I like being physically active. I like working hard towards something to try and like
improve yourself, like fitness and perspective and stuff like that.
Definitely.
So to say that was your dad, did you say that came from your dad, did you?
I'd say my sporting background, not so much judo, because we had a family friend who was in the police force in Merseyside Police, and he did judo. So when I was about 12, he got me into it. Oh, cool. And I really enjoyed it because I'd always been a fan of like wrestling growing up, mixed martial arts, UFC, stuff like that. So
it's quite big in the States, isn't it? Like wrestling's quite massive over there. I've never done it myself. Like
I know wrestling, but the sort of wrestling I meant is like the sort of fake stuff, like the WWE.
Okay, right, I'm with you.
Yeah, no,
okay.
Not the actual collegiate, but no. I know I was into that up until about the ages of like 11 or 12, and then I sort of moved over when I started judo, watching like mixed martial arts. So like, you know, UFC, you hear like Conor McGregor, John Jones, etc.
Oh, cool. And then you got more interested into like the gym and strength training around 17, did you say?
Yeah, because, I stopped judo, but I still kept playing football and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then sort of like a lot of people in school, like I was picked on for stuff and, you know, you want to stand up to bullies.
No, of course, yeah.
So I had low self-confidence. So I don't know, just went to the gym, tried to improve my sort of body image for myself. But I used to train at, do you know where the Royal Clifton is?
I do, yeah.
It's a very it's like a health club, sort of like, it's quite secluded. It's not a proper gym.
Right.
But I'd say for the first 2 years of training, I trained there because I was a bit like nervous to do it in front of anyone else. But obviously you build character training and stuff, so you just work up to a level where I was fine to go in a normal gym.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Thanks for sharing. I think the gym's intimidating, isn't it? And I think when you're walking into anywhere, you don't know what you're doing. And you back there, then it's very easy for us to say, oh, you shouldn't give a shit what everyone else thinks or what you do or what you're doing. But automatically, or you just think, oh shit, you do care what other people think of you and what's happening. So
I think you do at that age, definitely in like your teenage years. Like you go from high school where you've got all your mates, you know, like rinsing each other just for like insignificant stuff, and then it's like, I went to Birkdale where it's an all boys school, then you're trying to impress girls.
Yeah.
But it's like you sort of go to the gym for other people maybe. When you start, I know I did, but then as I got into it, I loved it and did it for myself.
You went to Birkdale High?
Yeah.
Ah, ditto.
Tough. Oh, did you?
I did, yeah. I went there, and my nephews went there too. My two nephews go there currently. One's finished. He's just started the RAF actually. And my other nephew, Hayden, he still goes there as well.
Really?
But yeah, who's your PE teacher?
My PE teacher?
Quirky or
Mr. Quirk.
Quirky's still there.
Mr. Thorne. Oh, yeah, he is.
Yeah.
A lot of my lecturers know a lot of the PE staff there, so like, there's been mixed reviews. Like, there's sort of like a hierarchy of who's favoured amongst like the physical education community. But
okay,
it was all right.
There's one more, mate. I'm trying to think about in my head. There's Quirky. You went to Vossi.
And Thorne.
Who?
Mr. Thorne, maybe.
Thorne. No, that's not up there. You went to Vossi. Vossi would have well retired, I reckon.
Nah, he was there.
Was he? No,
yeah,
stop it.
But he didn't really teach PE. He was sort of like our careers advisor.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That surprises me.
He said that I'd be a conveyancer.
Really?
I couldn't do an office job. The idea of being sat at a computer all day, man. Boring.
Yeah. Well, so here's a question then, because this is a big one. Obviously, when you come in school, you get to see like your final years and like decide now at the age of 14 what you want to do for the rest of your life. Yeah. What was your decision back then? What did you want to do? What was your thought process around then?
Oh, I didn't have one.
I
was clueless, literally until I was about 21.
Right.
When I initially dropped out of uni, I was clueless.
Right.
I mean, even at like college, I did business studies, sociology, and psychology.
Right.
Which is very different to like PE.
Right. Okay.
I found sociology interesting though, because it's sort of dealing with like society, how people act and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I only decided I wanted to go into physical education profession like when I was 21, which is quite late.
Yeah, awesome. Well, so what was the thing that got you to think you wanted to get into physical education? What was the one thing then?
Initially, I did 2 years at college, and then I did a third year in Liverpool Community College where I did like what did I do? I did like, it was sort of like PE, but it was like sports studies or something. And then I did sports science at uni initially when I was 19, but it was very maths, physics orientated, and it was a bit academic for me. And then I ended up dropping out my second year. So I remember getting a job at Lidl in Southport when I was 21.
Right, okay.
Sort of thinking, this is going to be the rest of my life, working in retail. I didn't mind it, but it was just like a means to an end.
Yeah.
And then my girlfriend at the time was like, wanted to be an English teacher. She was much like, why don't you'd be a good PE teacher? Because I'd already ruled out PTing because like I just didn't have the motivation for that, like to say coach clients, for example. So I just applied for PE, did a gap year, saved up a bit of money, and then went back at 22.
Oh, cool.
And then from there, I've just been invested in my studies.
Yeah. Oh, fantastic. That's ace. So along your journey, obviously what we're going to get into now a bit more into is the bodybuilding persona. Because you did something pretty damn impressive in my opinion.
I tried.
You went at it alone. Yeah, you're full on. I competed like I think like 5 or 6 years ago now. Yeah. I had a coach who was my backbone and took away all the guesswork from me, which is a great investment. But you went at it alone, which I think is very admirable because it's a lot to get your head around, as well as obviously for those that don't know, like bodybuilding competition prep of being hungry all the time.
Oh, it's intense.
All you think about is pretty much food. Where your next meal would come in the training, all that, which we'll get into a bit of. So what was your fuel to do a bodybuilding show? What was the one thing that got you thinking, I want to fucking do this?
Right, I'm someone who does things like stupidly, a bit of stupidity, impulsively every so often.
Yeah.
Just I think because I live quite a boring life, that sometimes I just do mad things. I'm like, yeah, go on. So I know that I'd been training at that point for about 8 years, and but I was playing football twice a week, so I was only training about 2 or 3 days a week.
Right.
So one of my mates went, "Why don't you do a bodybuilding competition for a laugh?" This was in the January, and I was like, well, I've got my YouTube channel I'm doing now. So I was like, I'm trying to do fitness, it's like semi-informative fitness-based stuff. I was like, yeah, go on. Yeah. So I think about 17 weeks out, I seen a competition, what's it, WNBF, I think, in London. So I was like, yeah, go on, I'll enter. So without having a off-season and having a coach, I just thought, yeah, go on. I'll get in a calorie deficit. I do enough physical activity anyway. Yeah. Let's do a competition. But yeah, it's a lot harder than you'd think.
There's a lot more to it than what
I have a lot of respect for people that do it.
Yeah.
I don't think I could do it again because like the sacrifices people make. Like I didn't do it for money or anything. I just thought I'd prove to myself
that you could do it to an extent.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like you, as you'll know yourself, you build a lot of like willpower, determination. You've got to want something so much.
Yeah.
To try to achieve that.
It's hard. It is. It's tough. Like I think the mental aspect of it, which we'll get into in a minute, I think is massive as well. But I think but to do that on your own, like at the age you were as well, I think it's just very.
Yeah,
it's good. Like
you'd be surprised what you can do as humans if you put your mind to it and you graft for it. You can make almost anything happen.
Yeah, I mean, I kept seeing you in Everlast, and you're getting like smaller.
I had long hair as well.
I was like, this guy's getting hungry. I was like, this guy is really hungry. I don't think anyone can compare to the hunger you get towards the end. I mean, you see it on YouTube, the influencers you see online on Instagram, on YouTube, and it's bigged up to an extent to look like this incredible, amazing thing that you see on YouTube and stuff that is like glorified to an extent.
Being abstract lean.
Yeah, but going through it yourself, it's a different kettle of fish. It's like you are literally hungry. Like this, I don't think up until the last 4 weeks was too bad. What was your first weeks like of adjustments?
Like from the start of the dieting?
Yeah. So when you first started?
I think when I started, I was like 196 pounds, which is like 89 kilo. It was all right because like my calories I started on was about, I think, 2,700. So like every 3 or 4 weeks, I'd assess where I was. Initially I was like, I want to get down to like 182. Even though my stage weight was like 179. The lowest I got was 176, which is like very light for me.
Yeah.
It was all right. Like, because being in the football team at university, like I did go out drinking. Like I remember, I think I cut out alcohol 13 weeks out. Right. Which from anyone that's competed before, that's quite stupid.
Yeah. So that's what I'm out, mate.
But I think like I didn't go over my calories or anything because like it was just a few pints, but yeah, I'd already hit my protein for the day, and then the remainder I was like, right, I can have this from alcohol, which isn't the wisest thing to do.
No, but you cut that from 13 weeks. You stopped doing that from 13 weeks out.
And then I'd say the graph was like last 6 weeks. Like I remember waking up to go for a wee at like 3 a.m, 5 a.m, 6 a.m, like all the time because I was drinking like 5 liters of water a day.
Christ.
Probably more actually when you factor in like coffee because like caffeine suppresses appetite for a...
So you become reliant on black coffee, don't you?
I was trying to keep me ghrelin down.
Yeah.
And my leptin high. Just trying to be empty all the time.
It's cool that you had the education to know that though.
Yeah. Do you know when you did it? Did you ever witness did you ever have like salad bowls, like 1 kilo salads?
Yeah.
Where you just lob everything in, cottage cheese, and it'd be like 400 calories.
Yeah. Yeah, because for those that don't know, like when you're trying to restrict calories and lose weight, especially towards the end of your prep, when you're getting lighter, therefore you're burning less calories, you don't weigh as much, so therefore your body's also slowing down too. So fidgeting and simple stuff, you just stop doing, like the usual stuff that you do every day. Like you don't realize how many tasks you do every day that burns and secretes calories. So towards the end, that gets hard and gets less and less and less. So each meal, you're trying to conserve as many calories as you can. So the more you can bulk out each meal to keep you full, the better. So as what Jake just said here, sorry. things like lettuce, peppers, salad, vegetables, you bulk out on because
bit of salt, bit of pepper.
You just want to feel full.
Definitely.
You just want to feel full. And I think that for me, the worst point was definitely the last 3 weeks. That's when it got really strict for me. And that was when I literally felt that every meal, I wasn't satisfied. Every meal, I think that's the hardest mental challenge of it. You'd finish a meal, still be fucking starving.
What was your lowest your calories went?
So it was all out of control for me. I actually couldn't say. On guesstimation, I reckon my calories were down to as low as, I reckon I was about 1,700 towards the end.
Yeah, I was like 1,900, and even that was a graft.
Yeah. But I mean, at the end, I lost my coach like a few weeks out of my show.
Did you?
We had a bit of a tenor hitch and a bit of a stressful time with that. And I outsourced another coach. That was John Eyes. He's passed away now. He had COVID, bless him. But he stepped in and helped me in my last few weeks of my show. Because I was a bit lost. Because obviously, as you can imagine, 2 weeks out, you're heavy depleted. Your mind's going west anyway.
You don't want the stress, especially if you're like working and stuff as well.
Exactly. You lose your coaches. You're like, fuck. I'm like, what do I do here? I'm like, so he stepped in and he helped me with posing. And he helped me with the last few weeks on my diet and helped me with like on the show day, carbing up and stuff. And it wasn't perfect because obviously my coaches knew what I should have been on, and he didn't have as much of an idea. So my show day wasn't perfect. I went in pretty flat, really. The next day, post-show, when I engulfed about 80 quid's worth of Papa John's, the next day I looked unbeliable.
Wait, I was like... There's that video you had on YouTube where you did seen that a few years ago.
That's
a mad amount of food, but literally your hunger's just up there, isn't it? Like mine was through the roof as well.
Yeah, it's like... your body goes, I can eat now. So I'm going to continue eating. But literally that day when I woke up the next day, I had veins popping on my abs and everything. I looked full, and I was like, the next day I literally said to the person I was with at the time, I said, I wish I'd competed today because I looked so much fuller than what I did the previous day. But
trial and error, isn't it?
It is what it is. I mean, I got on stage for the reasons of proving I could do it because I'd been obviously massively overweight. So I got an awful lot of backlash in Southport. Oh, you're not taking steroids, you're not doing this, you're not taking it seriously.
What's that about?
What are you doing? What's that? They couldn't understand the fact that I wanted to get on stage to prove that I could do it for myself. Yeah,
but you still want to be here in 20, 30 years' time, don't you?
Oh, exactly.
Exactly. Like, you don't want to cut your life short just to be a little bit bigger, a little bit leaner.
To get on stage, look a bit better, to potentially come first or second place, maybe.
I know. I remember you saying like a while ago when we were speaking, when on the run up to the competition, like how prevalent like steroids are, like say even in our own gyms in like Southport.
Yeah.
See, no one's ever come up to me and said, "Oh, what are you on? Do you want anything?" So like, it's mental, but I think I've got one of them faces in the gym. People just leave me alone.
You're like,
I'm there to train.
What this face is called? Like, is it?
It's not a bitch face.
It's not a bitch face. What is it? Is it a bitch face? No.
I don't know.
It's like you're dead to me face. Like, you're just shut off from the world, aren't you? You're in your own little zone. If you had your hood up, obviously, to give
oh God, yeah. I felt like death most of the time there.
Yeah. So you were saying then a minute ago about steroids and such, where you'd never approached by it. Obviously, steroids are everywhere. I mean, to my knowledge, everywhere. I think when I competed, I was in a bigger, more, I guess,
circle maybe.
Potentially, I trained somewhere where it was more what's the word?
Prevalent.
Prevalent.
Yeah.
The type of coaches, people that were in there were more, I guess, within that region of being users, and it was more kind of normalized to take gear like that to compete and different things. And I said a lot of the people and the stigma around there was just very negative toward me that I didn't do all those things. But you weren't approached by it, so that's just empowering to you, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was quite lucky because I was sort of studying. I was in my final year of uni at the time, so it literally like go to the gym, go to lectures, do my assignments, do my dissertation, go home, and that was pretty much it. And then work at weekends. So like, I never really had that. I was in that sort of environment. Like, I've got a few friends that, like, some of my mates are like run half marathons. I've got some that are into the gym, but not so much competing, not PT and coaching.
Yeah.
So like, I think maybe it's just because of where like my friend group who I hang around with is very different to say like maybe more mainstream fitness.
I understand. Oh, cool. So what was your so obviously we're talking about your comp here. Your prep, did your training change at all throughout the whole of the prep? Or did it stay pretty linear?
I mean, I went full body towards the end. Okay. I'd say probably the last 5 or 6 weeks, purely because like I wanted to hit each muscle group about 3 times a
2 to 3
week
times
at
a
least.
week,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because I know like the recovery time's like 48 to 72 hours, like muscle protein synthesis and whatnot. So I was trying to do that as best as I could, but like I was doing like low volume workouts. So say a typical workout's about 20 working sets. These were getting down to about like 15, 16.
Okay.
Just so I could sort of manage my volume. But say on days where I wouldn't be training, I'd still be doing an hour on the treadmill, like on an incline, on top of like 15k steps a day.
Yeah. Are we typically 5 or 6 meals a day? Were you eating every like 4 hours?
Yeah, I'd say I was like lunchtime, morning, breakfast, and then like a few snacks in between. But usually that's like protein yogurts, protein shakes, cottage cheese on bagel. Well, actually no, I didn't even have bagels at the time, but like cottage cheese and stuff. Yeah, just low calorie dense foods, to be honest.
And then the last, let's say 2 to 3 weeks, did it change at all? Last few weeks, or
I'd say probably from about 8 days out, my training went more like, I was doing higher repetitions, but like similar sort of volume, like say 14, 15 sets, but I was doing like 60% of my working weight.
Right, okay.
I think like my last heavy sort of, I don't know, like I was doing like RDLs quite heavy up until probably about 3 or 4 days out.
Okay, all right. RDL.
Yeah.
And then that last week, did you like kind of like circuit-based workouts to an extent to try and deplete as much as you could? Or?
I did a lot of like drop sets.
Yeah.
Like say I'd be doing like a vertical pull. Then next, like I might do like a vertical press, for example. But I tried the best I could, but I think because I just finished uni and it was something to focus on, and I was still in that sort of like academic mindset, like research-based. I watched a lot of videos and did quite a lot of research into like how to train for competitions and stuff, but I think I just absorbed too much information, of which very little I retain now. My head was just banging, and I was like, I just need to get this competition done.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's just, I'd say higher repetitions, but probably like similar volume.
Yeah, okay. And then how was your show day? What was that like?
Well, honestly,
honest as you want, mate.
Right, so we went down. It was all right, and then obviously they do like the pre-tan and stuff. Like that was fine. You know, you speak to people, get to know them.
Yeah.
But then I don't know. It's my naivety, or just probably my sort of personality. Is, you know, I'm just quite chilled, laid back. I was like, oh yeah, so what calories have you been cutting from? What's your starting weight? People are like, I can't talk about that. Like it was some sort of secret, and I'm thinking, well, what works for you and what works for me are completely different.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, how much caffeine are you having? Like, roughly, like, I don't know, like 300 milligrams a day. An example, people are like, oh, no, I can't say. And I'm like, why? And they're like, well, I'm just doing what my coach says.
Yeah.
And then the penny dropped. I was like, oh, a coach?
Yeah.
I was like, it's the first timers. And they were like, yeah. But then they started saying like, so then someone come back going like, what supplements are you on? And I was like, creatine. And they were like, is that it? And I was like, yeah. Caffeine, of that counts. But then there was all that like, what's it, ashwagandha, root.
Ashwagandha,
like, there was, I can't even remember the products, but they were noting stuff, which I looked online. There was these two twins that were competing the same time as me. Wow. Bear in mind, they're 6'5", they were 97 kilos. And I was about 80 kilos at the time. I'm like 6'2". So I was like one of the smallest in the category. But turns out like, do you know like the WADA list, like the drug list?
Yeah, I do.
Some of the stuff they were taking was on the watch list.
Right.
And I was like, this is a natural competition, which no one got drug tested.
Was it a tested competition?
It was supposed to be, but they said they unless they test the winners, I don't know, because they said they tested every athlete. I didn't get tested.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And people are like grafting for years. Like, I think like speaking to some of the people that were competing, like, bearing in mind it's the first timers, so it's just like a low entry show. Like, people are grafted for years and years, training, putting into it. Like, they've had coaches, spent thousands of pounds on it. And I'm there like, yeah, I've got no coach. Like, I was saying, like, so what's your home life like? You're working, like, I'm in a shitty 9-to-5 job, working all these hours, then I'm spending hours a day in the gym. I'm there, like, I'm in the gym about an hour, like 5 days a week or something. what's your off season like? And I was like, didn't have one. And then I think at that point, but I wasn't really bothered. I was like, I'm vlogging it. It'll be entertaining, something to talk about and look back in a few years. But
of course it is.
It was all right. But I think I remember speaking to you about it at the time. The organisation of the show day
was horrendous.
Yeah, it's like, get here at 9 a.m. So we get there, you're waiting to get tanned. I thought they'd come out and call you out by category to get tanned.
Right.
Apparently you just walked in, so I wasted about an hour waiting around.
Right.
People were like, obviously I had like rice cakes and like jam and stuff on them and some sweets, even though I don't really like sweets. But yeah, like people are eating stuff and like people were like, oh, I'm getting a coffee. I need my caffeine hit. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to get a brew. So some fella that was with us, he was ordering black coffee. I said, do you even like black coffee? He said no. So me, stupidly enough, not really thinking about like front loading, back loading, stuff like that. Because I just sort of upped my calories in the last week. I was like, nah, I'm just drinking lattes. They'd be like, why? I was like, well, I like lattes.
Yeah.
So I think on show day, I sort of just thought, I can't be bothered. I mean, I still went out there and tried my best and enjoyed it for what it was, but I think just the structure of it, I was just like, it's so disorganised. You got people like, like you go to a football game, there's a bit like, say I'm playing 11-side against people, there's like friendly rivalry, shake hands, everyone's sound at the end. Mm-hmm. Whereas with bodybuilding, it was a bit, I don't even know if you can say that, like feminine.
Right. Like
it was very like, everyone was, it was quite, I don't know the words, like a bitchy environment, but I'm not really used to that.
Yeah, so it's kind of, it's what's the word we're looking for here? It's
hyper,
not bitchy, but like almost like being back in the schoolyard, isn't it? Where you got cliques, you're like a cliquey environment. Cliques of people that are very engrossed within each other, and so, I can relate to that a lot from my show as well. Yeah,
so that sort of aspect, sort of like, I was a bit like, I don't know what I'm doing here, but I was like, I've put all this effort in this graft, and I was like, let's go and enjoy it. Because I don't know, I was a bit ill-informed because I tried to get my diet, my sleep when I could, my training on point. That I didn't really think about, all the things like my posing was terrible. Like I was doing it in the mirror just for about a minute here and there, a few weeks out, but like, and then they said the music's on, and then I was like, I'll just dance to it, look like I'm having a good time. But supposedly you're supposed to look at the judges, aren't you? Yeah. This is how ill-informed I am. My mates were in a few rows from the front. Right. I was just looking at my mates the whole time, so my eyes weren't even on the judges. But I wasn't doing it to try and win. I was doing it to just like see what the process is like. But I think for a regional competition, like low entry, there was some phenomenal like physiques there. Yeah, like it was insane. Like you could give me another 10 years in the gym and I still wouldn't look that good.
Because a lot of them are doing other exterior things to to do that, and I think that it's bad when that's in a so-called tested show. I went to UKUP, which is quite a new federation, which wasn't tested at all. So I was on stage with people 3 times the size as me, but my condition, one thing that was good with me, my conditioning was I was dry to the bone. Like my conditioning was fucking next level. I remember when we did the pre-pumps. Like your day, our day was like disorganized as fuck. Our show was pushed back like 2 hours before us going on stage. So that was
like 3.5.
When you're trying to eat like your meals on X amount of time in preference for the day, and in a certain amount of times you get your pre-pump on, and it's all planned out. It all just goes to shit show day. It never goes to plan. And we did our pre-pump, but then literally I think we started going flat again because we were waiting that long to go on. So I'll never forget, we all was queued up next to the stage and we all just stood there. So I thought, fuck this. So I got on the floor, started doing push-ups. Yeah. And then literally every guy, copy me, every guy got on the floor, started doing pull-ups. So we started doing a little competition, like counters. We were doing them for a laugh. Trying to get a pump. Or trying to maintain a pump. We just spent the past 10-15 minutes doing because we were being pushed back to go on stage again.
It's very disorganised. I remember, like, I think my brother Ben, he got some really good resistance bands during lockdown.
Yeah, I've seen
so
them,
I robbed a few of his bands and took them with me. They got robbed. Literally, I come back and all my resistance bands are gone. I was like, oh, God. So I had to send my brother like 40 quid.
Christ.
The price. Disregard, like, even, I think the thing about most sports, like, if you do, like, you can earn some money from it. If you do football, you're good at it, you can earn money. But the thing with like bodybuilding, they seem to take all the money from you. You've got to pay to register, you've got to pay to enter. Obviously, you're going to pay for your coach, your food and stuff like that. But like...
It's a very expensive, self-absorbed sport because it is all about you.
Oh, it is mental.
I was in a relationship at the time when I was doing mine.
But that was hard.
Yeah, that person was only doing it with me.
Yeah.
And she pulled out for her own personal reasons. But then after that, because it was just me, I'd had to be so selfish on meals and my cooking times, my training times, my cardio times. I was still working. All that, it's hard work. And as you said, the money, like paying for your tan, your hotel to stay, getting down there, then all your meal prep, your coaching, like you spend thousands. Like, and then your reward is potentially a trophy and a couple of £100.
Yeah,
and then to get in the big leagues to where you may actually make money from it is on your sponsorships. You need to be big on social media. You need to be in the bigger shows where you're taking.
Got to know the right people and stuff.
Yeah, in the right circles and taking also.
I suppose that comes from like networking, but you could say
does.
like me just being someone who goes to the gym, like sports. I wouldn't say like I know more people like say like I know you for example that are sort of like PTs and in that sort of space compared to say like 3, 4, 5 years ago. But I think you can network, but you could come across like. I don't really come across, like I've said, I don't come across any like steroid users or like trying to push it onto me.
Yeah.
Suppose with yourself being in the fitness industry, doing that as a career, that's going to be more prevalent. Like people trying to push that onto you.
Yeah.
Especially when a big message for you, no pun intended with the podcast name or with your name, fitt-on. Like it's just fit, being fit, healthy. Whereas if you were taking gear, it's like, you're not going to live long, man.
No, you're taking away from your years if you decide to take steroids and gear, aren't you? You're just taking years off yourself. So, it just has no sense in that. Well, what I would like to see change within the industry is that more of a prevalence to become on natural lifters, natural training. I think it's wrong that all the money and all the sponsorships are all in the people that are willing to take all this gear and stuff like that. I think there should be just as much prevalence and success for people that are natural doing it. Because you look at the shows, you look at all the natural shows compared to the shows that have all the people that are taking all the gear under the sun and the sponsorships and that. They're two different contrasts, they're two different shows.
It's mental.
I don't think it's right.
There's a lot of people on like TRT and stuff that are like, I think there was a YouTuber called Marion. He's he's only about 2 years older than me.
Yeah. Is he the guy that's in Europe?
I think he's Dutch.
Yeah.
He was like, I followed a lot of his stuff from when I was younger, but he started getting on TRT like when he was about my age, like 25, 26. And then he's come off now, I think. But he said his life was just in the ground afterwards. But
I think at the moment TRT seems to like be a bit of a scapegoat for people. I think people are getting these paid private doctors that are being paid, that are subscribing these people to TRT, and what do you call it? Mine's went blank. And they're not getting minimum dosages; they're getting up and above dosages, but they can just come out and say, "Oh, I'm on TRT." Yeah. But their dosing is going to be higher than the normal amount. So technically, they're on steroids because they're still attaining a bigger physique than the majority could do. Now, don't get me wrong. If you're like, I think it's another conversation. But if you're pushing, I was 10:36 last Sunday. But if you're getting more towards later into 30s, 40s, that's when your test levels start to diminish.
And it's not even that much to go down by, though, to be honest.
I think it depends on lifestyle, doesn't it? I think if you eat well, you have a high protein diet, and you weight train, then you're going to be in a good area. If you don't, obviously, your risk of your test levels dropping more significantly is a higher chance, isn't it? So I think for a lot of people, there is a benefit to jumping on TRT in the early 40s and above, because it can, for the life, it can give a lot of value. Yeah,
I guess so. But I mean, there's still a lot of good like natural lifters. Like I don't know if you're onto that Jesse Jane West, Will Tennyson, people like that. I mean, they've got like brilliant physiques. I think that
fantastic.
Jesse competed like a week or two ago, and he looked phenomenal. Probably should have won his show, but I think for me, I drew inspiration. Have you heard of Joe Delaney?
It rings a bell.
He's like an online PT. He's quite big now. He never used to be years ago, but he used to travel and party a lot.
Has he got a shaved head? Like, did he have a mohawk for a period of time?
No, he had long hair for a bit, and then now he's got like short. And there was like Rob Lipsett, people like that. Yeah. Like I just used to like their balance of like, you can go out and drink sometimes in moderation. You go on holiday, travel, and sort of combine that with fitness. Like everything's like balance, just like in moderation. I think it's important.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's a balancing component in it. They can still have your fitness, or even though they're fitness professionals, as you said, they still go and party and like, what's it called? Ibiza, that's it. They still go to Ibiza the last holidays.
Great place.
Yeah. They have the good times, and as I said, it is balance. That's what life should be.
Do you know, in regard to your show, like, would you say you were still, like, not say like for me personally, I was quite desensitized from fitness, the idea of watching fitness videos, you know, like training on a schedule. Like, I sort of fucked it off for about 4 months. How were you? Like, was your training still on point?
After show?
Yeah.
It was, I was pretty much straight back into the gym again. I ate a lot. I rebounded. I put a lot of weight on, but I think I put on about 2 stone after my show, if I'm honest. Wow. Best I've ever looked. I looked amazing, but then also I was like, I just couldn't stop eating. And like me right now, because I've been bigger, my appetite's ridiculous all the time. I can eat and eat and eat and eat. In the past with my ex, I did like 10,000 calorie eating videos. I know you've done them, but those days are easy to me because I don't typically get full. So I can eat and eat. So it's very easy for me to put weight back on. So after that, I put a lot of weight on, but then my training just pretty much stayed the same, if I'm honest. Because then after that, I was like, I loved it, so I wanted to do it again. Yeah. So, but then obviously after that, situation changed, COVID came. I know that so much shit has happened since then. You know what I mean?
It just fucks a lot of things up.
Yeah, and I've said, I was kind of putting out there this last year I'd have done it again, but a lot of personal complications happened for me. That's the reason why I couldn't do that. And it's what it is. I'll never say that there's always sure. I'd love to do it again in the future. But if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, I'm not going to sleep over it.
Well, it's the best way to be. I mean, maybe I'll do it one day, but I think just for a while, probably not.
So you've taken the back seat from that. You've had a bit of time off since.
Well, yeah, because and obviously in January I went travelling till May. So from like July last year when I finished competing through to like when I got back in early May, I haven't really been in the gym that much, not consistently. I mean, I've still been exercising, like hiking, you know, playing football. Yeah. Doing a lot of steps, but like apart from like 2 months ago, I hadn't properly been in a gym. I haven't been that much of my lifestyle for like 10 months, which is quite a long time when you think about it. And
do you think that was because it was so extreme?
Yeah, I think so.
A bit of air, just to kind of let yourself chill a bit and not be so engrossed in that.
I think so. Well, I think it just desensitized me from it for a bit, but the gym was like, it's been such a core part of my life for so long, hence probably going into like the teaching profession, because like I want to be healthy and active. I'm not so bothered about how big I am or anything anymore. No. Which maybe I was concerned with when I was younger, but it's just about health and longevity. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, they're the things that matter to me.
I like it. So the first question next is, would you do it again?
Possibly.
I feel like 6 months ago that would have been a no. Yeah.
Well, probably, but it's weird because like sort of like the trajectory of my life, like I know I want to get my teaching qualification, I want to move abroad for a few years, like I don't want any girlfriend or anything like that for a good few years, focus on my career and stuff. Yeah. But maybe when I get into like mid-late 30s, maybe I'd look at doing it again. I don't know. Okay. It's hard. Yeah. You can never rule anything out.
But as you said, you can't completely shut the door on it.
No, true.
So what for you was the most challenging aspect of the whole experience? Would you say it was more physical or more mental?
Oh, mental, 100%.
Yeah.
Physical, I'm all right dealing with, but because I'm quite a happy, outgoing person, like positive outlook on stuff, I don't really get down. Like, obviously, people have shit days and whatnot, but I think, like, I go to Birkdale Village with my mates on a Saturday night, say the odd time, I'd be drinking Coke Zero, just sat there, like, not wanting to be there. Like, I'm physically there, but mentally just rather be in bed asleep. Right. But I think I just became a bit OCD with it and a bit down. I was like, man, what am I doing this for? A lot of the time. But then I was like, the determination, proving to myself, you know what, I can do this.
Yeah.
I think that was the hardest part.
Okay, yeah, but you did it. yeah, you did it. You did it on your own, which I think is the is a big thing that you didn't have a coach. You had so many things against you, and you just ran at it 100 mile an hour. You got down there, you got on stage, you smashed the show. You did it, mate. So.
I did okay. I mean, I think I came joint last. I think you said like 9th out of 14 or 15 or something, but it was like joint last. Yeah. But it's all right. I didn't die in the process.
No. But you proved yourself you could do it, which is for me, I think the biggest thing. And you did it on your own. I don't think I could have done that on my Todd. I think maybe now, after experiencing it and doing it, and now having more knowledge on it, I think I could quite easily do it myself now. But I think back then, there's no way I could have done that. I
think I just didn't have much going on in my life. Like I moved back to Southport in like the April or the May, and I was like, right, I was doing like crappy part-time jobs in Southport. I did a bit of supply teaching, but I was like, I was like, say when I was teaching the school, I was like walking around, you know, teaching PE and stuff. I was doing a lot of physical activity. So my head was just like, I'm burning calories, I'm getting steps in.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, right, salad for lunch, fruit salad, packet of chicken or something. I was like, it was very structured.
Yeah.
But I think like as I get older and I get more busier, I'm sure like, you know, you think when you're older, when you've got kids and stuff, girlfriend, I think it'd be a lot harder because I've got more distractions there.
Yeah.
Whereas it was a pretty boring time in my life, I'd probably say last year.
So we'll hop into now. A bit off topic, a bit more chill. We've been very in depth in bodybuilding conversation there. Food.
Yeah.
Are you a foodie?
Yes, 100%.
Everyone says yes to this question. I don't know even why I would bother, but yeah. So if you were chopped to desert island and you could have one meal that you'd have whatever the hell it was, the hell that it could be anything that you wanted it to be, what would that one meal be? You've not for a year you've been eating like coconuts, like raw salmon, and leaves, and a year later you at one meal for what the hell it could be, whatever you want. What would that one meal be?
Chicken fajita pizza, create your own, from Asda.
Really?
Renowned as a J1.
Right.
Yeah, literally, like me and my friend Christian used to like, we'd always go Asda after the gym, like maybe say once a week.
Yeah.
He'd come to mine, we'd, you know, just bum around, talk, watch Corrie, whatever, and then we put a pizza in the oven, and it's just like the nicest thing. Yes, very calorie dense, but as you know, there's ways around it. You can get like, instead of deep pan, you could get a stone baked one, which is like a few hundred calories less.
Yeah.
But it's well worth it.
Right. That's it. That's number one of everything. Like even like potential takeouts, not even like Domino's or a Pizza Hut or.
Nah, literally Asda.
Really?
What about yourself, Alan? What would you pick?
Oh God, I wasn't expecting that. Oh shit, you put me on the mark now.
We'll add this in if you weren't a celiac.
If I wasn't, I was going to say if I wasn't celiac. I was about to ask that question. So if I wasn't celiac, it'd have to be a barbecue chicken and bacon pizza from either Domino's or Pizza Hut.
Oh really?
Because the dough that you get when you're not celiac is like next level. That even when I lost like 7 stone and my weight over that area, my one cheat meal a week, no matter what, was a Domino's large pizza, without fail, all the time. That and my mum's roast dinner. They were
something to look forward to.
Yeah. That was my go-to. Now being celiac, probably have to be takeaway Thai, like a nice pad Thai or like a green Thai
pad
curry.
Thais. So expensive in England though.
Yeah, they're extortionate, aren't they?
Like 15 quid. About £1.50 if you go Thailand.
Yeah. Oh, well, we'll get into that in a minute. Or it'll probably make my own. Or like at the minute I found, like I thought the Domino's gluten-free pizza were good, but they're not. They're god awful. But Papa John's does a butternut squash based pizza.
Oh yeah.
And it's the closest thing I'll get to like a normal pizza, and it is fit. It is fantastic. Yes.
Might try it at some point.
Yeah, it's up there. But it's extortion. Like Papa John's, like that's like 20 quid for a pizza.
I know.
I'm a bit like.
If you're buying for yourself as well,
Yeah.
I mean, I normally get our Ben to go halves. I go, what takeaway are we getting? And then I always nudge it to what I want to get.
Yeah.
So we can go halves, so it's not
And
as
then-
bad, but it's still a lot.
Domino's, you get 2 for Tuesday as well. Domino's is like a no-brainer.
Yeah, but it's 2 for Tuesday. It's 2 for whatever, any day. It's always
can
buy one,
collect.
get one free.
That's true.
No, you can get it dropped off. It's still buy one, get one free.
That's it.
Yeah, you know when you go on the app or something, or the website, it comes up with all the deals. You just
Right.
click like 2 for 1. Or it'd be like, spend 30 quid, or it'd be like, spend 40 quid, get 40% off.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're paying, like 26 quid. It's 13 quid each. It's
Right.
not awful.
No, that's not terrible. That's not bad.
Not in this
To be
day and
honest,
age.
there's 2 more things to answer your question as well. Before celiacness, a KFC boneless bucket. That is, because that's one thing I definitely can't have ever again.
Yeah.
And a cinnamon bun. They're all like top tier.
I thought it was one thing, Alan, not 4.
I know, but I'm a foodie. So for me, like
Fair one.
5 things is one thing.
I'll do.
But yeah, anyway, we all asked.
Yeah.
So there's another question. So you spoke a minute ago about your pizza, but then also you kind of guarded, and you said that you can get the less calorie one and get like a stone base. Are you still mindful about like how you eat now, like calorie wise and things?
Yeah, I think currently, I mean, when I got back 2 months ago, I was 207 pounds. I think in stone that's 94-ish, around 94, I think, just under 15
Kilos,
stone.
I mean.
Yeah, just under 94 kilo.
Yeah.
So I'd lost 10 pounds because I was 217 when I went away in January.
Right.
Now I'm about 200, but I was like, right, I want to lose a bit of fat because obviously I'm getting back into training. Muscle memory is a godsend. If you've been training that long, like you can look like shit, train for a few weeks, months. It's nice to see them gains coming back, but I was trying to stay in a caloric deficit as well. So I was trying to lose fat and put on muscle at the same time, which is hard to do, but yeah. So I'd say I am mindful. As long as I hit my 200 gram of protein a day, I think I'm trying to eat just like around 3,000 calories, which is slightly below my maintenance, what I estimate it to be.
Right.
But carbs to fat's not really that fussed.
Okay. You take it or leave it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, okay.
Like, depends how I am on the day. If I can fit it into my calories, brilliant. As long as I'm eating enough fruit and veg, etc. Micronutrients, very important.
Oh, I like it. Cool. So now we can hop into, you've been travelling, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
you had
probably too long.
A bit of off time. Where did your travelling adventures take you?
Oh, I've been on off time for years. So initially, I was going to go Southeast Asia. I mean, I did go there, but I stopped off at Mumbai in India first. And if you've ever heard about India, beautiful country, but like the distribution of wealth is like insane. So you got the very rich people living in the city, and then you got the very poor. So like, when initially to try and save money, I tried walking from the airport to my accommodation. So I had 2 big backpacks on, walking around the slums of India, and I was scared shitless. Right. Literally, like, I don't know, like, you think, like, you've never seen a stray dog before, and then you see a pack of dogs barking at you. You've got random people just looking at you, because, like, what you got to think about India, they don't really leave India. Because, you know, they haven't got enough money. So seeing like a white man walking around with 2 bags, they're probably thinking like, what's going on here? Yeah. So from there, I went to Thailand for 6 weeks. That was brilliant. Like, I love the culture in Thailand. People are some of the nicest people you could ever meet. Right. It makes you think about the Western society, like how many problems. You've got people kicking off about, you know, insignificant things. Whereas over there, everything's just peaceful and chilled. Then I went to Malaysia. Strict Muslim country, so like it was very different to say like Thailand, which is just above it. Went to Indonesia for a month, Bali. Went on a boat trip as well. Saw like whale sharks, Komodo dragons, swam with manta rays. There was some insane things. And then I went to Vietnam with my sister. I met my sister in Vietnam for a week. And then went back to England. She went to Australia. So just all over really. Yeah. Spent a lot of money like.
Worth it though?
Yeah, I'd say. I'd go again, but I don't really have like 6 grand or 4 months that I can just go like that with.
Just sat there chilling, like. What was the pinnacle part of it for you? Well, what was like the
best part?
Best part.
Oh,
the best part, and also the place you'd go back to first out of everywhere you went.
The best part, I'd probably say Indonesia. When I went swimming with manta rays and whale sharks. They were at 2 separate points, so like a week apart, but I think just being in the water, because I learned to scuba dive over there as well. And then I went snorkeling. Right. Obviously, like, scuba diving, have you ever done it before?
I haven't scuba dived.
So you've got to focus on your buoyancy and like, but I think for me, I had my GoPro. I wasn't really focusing on that. I was like, I just want to video this.
The angles.
So,
for the YouTube channel, like, obviously.
Well, just for myself, really. But, and that. But, like, when I went snorkeling, like, you know, take a deep breath, go under, just see, like, all the aquatic life. Oh, it's beautiful. It's like a different world down there, just being so close to nature. Yeah. And if I was to go somewhere again, it's hard. It's really hard. I think Krabi, South Thailand was really nice. Just off from the PP Islands on mainland Thailand. Right. Like, lovely place.
Well, okay. That's on my list. I want to go to Thailand. That's
it's good. For me. The visa's a month now. It was 6 weeks when I went. I was like 45 days, so I got a good 6 weeks there.
Oh, cool.
Beautiful culture.
So, what was the biggest take home from your travelling for you? There's a big one.
It is the biggest take home.
Like, it's great because you've seen different cultures, the way different people live, and
I've been on this. Like, I've never really followed any religion or anything, but like Buddhism, some of the aspects of it resonates with me. How just, you know, like peaceful. You know, you think like you can just go to like a quiet spot. Could be a beach. Could be like on top of a mountain. and then just sat there looking at the scenery and thinking, this is amazing. Like, this is like blissful, zen. I think for me, like, just going somewhere, being quiet, the other side of the world, away from all the stresses of back home everyday life. I'm quite lucky because my life's not very stressful anyway, because one of my priorities is my happiness and trying to live as stress-free as I can lifestyle. So I think, like, just taking in what amazing opportunities I've had. Because you go back 50 years, 100 years, people from our side of the world maybe would not be able to do that.
No, that's true. Yeah.
But probably say that.
Yeah, I like that. I think it probably comes a little bit into my next question, actually. That was very well, almost like we rehearsed that.
Yeah, we have. Take 5.
So mental health.
Yeah.
Because you've just spoken about switching off, happiness.
Yeah.
Points, in fact, where you can work on your happiness and take in and switch off from life. Have you ever suffered much from mental health related issues? It's something that I've brought into this cast a lot, and I ask all guests now because I think it's, from a relatability context, I think it's important that we talk about these things.
I'd say when I initially dropped out of uni, like, I don't mind saying on camera, but one of my best mates died when I was 20, so it was getting on 6 years ago now. And I sort of like dropped out. I had money issues because I still had rent to pay, wasn't working, sort of felt sorry for myself in a way. But a lot of my family were just like, you know, you need to get up, get a job, blah, blah, blah. And sort of glad they gave me a kick up the arse because, like, I was very feeling sorry for myself. Like, I think that sort of resilience from going from just doing nothing, thinking I had no purpose in life. And I was like, right, I want to try and work to something, which has ended up being my teaching. But I'd say when my mate died, that's probably the only time mentally I've had to overcome adversity to try and build myself up, because I literally was in the ground for like a good year. But obviously you've got to slowly build yourself up and surround yourself with the right people. But I'd say apart from that, I've never really had many like mental health issues or difficulties. But I think that's probably due to my upbringing, my dad just being a awkward bastard. But he's like mentally sound, like he's just typical 60-year-old bloke who set in his ways. But I think it helped me develop resilience, probably that incident.
Right, okay. Oh, cool. Thank you for sharing. I appreciate it. I didn't expect you to share that at all.
I don't mind. If you'd asked me 5 years ago, I probably wouldn't be able to talk about it.
No. Yeah, but it's just, I appreciate that. So let's hop into hobbies. What else are you interested in? What else like makes you tick, mate? What other loves do you have?
Well, I love to, like, I know we're on the topic of Marvel films. I wouldn't say I'm having a hiatus from that at the moment, but it's gone a bit down.
Flat.
In the ground, yeah. I don't know. I like walking. I like going on hiking with my mates. I like going away, going to festivals, raves with my mates. That's just enjoying myself, isn't it? I like doing a lot of that. I'm very, like, the whole idea of, like, PE, physical education, you know, like, how can we educate younger people to be more healthy, physically active? Like, that is, like, one of the backbones of, like, me as a person. Like,
love that. Any
sort of, obviously I drink sometimes, but, you know, I manage it. Like, drugs, smoking, I can't stand. Like, whether it's recreational drugs or, like, PEDs, like, I can't stand any of that. So, like, for me, like, I just like being physically active. Like, I'm not bothered if I play football, go cricket, hiking, snorkeling, just anything, like, where I'm active, really.
Yeah. That's what makes you tick. That's what makes you
buzz.
Oh,
definitely.
Oh, love it. Quality.
What about yourself?
Oh. Asking me. That's what about this.
It's your podcast. People want to get to know you.
I know. I talk a lot here. The purpose of getting guests on, so I don't have to talk.
But it's good to have two ways, isn't it?
Yeah. So me, I'm very lucky that what I do is in a profession, as i.e. PT and online coaching, as in this podcast, and all I do is my passion and love for life. Yeah. So I think this is my hobby and my love. I love about this is giving people's life experiences and what other people can learn from, and, you know, can open their eyes to different things, and that's what I like. That's a big part of it. I like to drink. I have the odd drink here and there. I like to eat.
Nothing wrong with that, kids.
No. I'm a massive Marvel fan, although I do agree it's a bit of a slum at the moment. Did you see the last Flash movie?
See, I'm a big Arrowverse CW. I don't know if you know about that.
No.
Like, there's been a Flash series for like 9 years. It was good at the start, but it's gone downhill.
Yeah.
The Flash movie, Ezra Miller, I don't like him as a person. No, like the controversies about him, like it's just like, what are you doing? He's like hitting women, hitting kids.
Is it factual though? Has it been?
I don't know. You just read it. You see videos on it. You just see it in the paper. I know that could be propaganda, but it's like he has been to court for some bad stuff.
Right. Okay. So it's looking potentially likely.
Yeah, and I don't think the movie was that good.
Oh, I thought my mind was blown.
Really?
Yeah. Literally,
I mean, they're doing like multiverse and stuff now, but it's like the shit.
It does feel a little bit. It's following obviously in Marvel in Marvel's footsteps to an extent, doing the multiverse and that. But I thought the Flash character was great. I thought seeing the old Batman. What's his name?
My mate knows this. He was like, he used to watch all the old ones, but I can't remember what he's called. It's Keaton, Michael Keaton.
Keaton. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah.
Seeing that was just enjoyable. I think it was good to see maybe
a throwback.
Yeah. And what's his name? The guy, the current Batman.
I think they should have got Grant Gustin on it, who was the Flash in the TV show.
That would have been better.
I think that was good because he'd done it for like 9 years.
Yeah, that's true. Have you watched the Snyderverse of the Justice League?
Yeah. I can't get into it. I like the Aquaman film. The Wonder Woman film is alright. Let's face it.
Close your eyes, and the Aquaman movie is a Marvel movie.
Yeah, pretty much. That's like I watched Black Panther 2 last year. Watched Black Panther 2 before I went away, and I was like, yeah, this just reminds me of like an Aquaman movie. Although I prefer my Marvel stuff, but at the moment it's just a bit, the Kang stuff. It's like Secret Wars.
Is
I watched that last night, the last one. No, they're doing.
No spoilers. I haven't watched it all yet.
Secret Wars. What might? Yeah, no, that's Secret Wars. Like they're doing the Kangs. All the Kangs are all like attacking the MCU.
That was what movie was that?
Oh, have you not seen the last Secret Invasion, whatever it is? Oh, it's so bad.
Is it
so bad?
I haven't watched one yet.
Do you know when you think about like growing up, like I was a big Dragon Ball fan, and that was all like power scaling and stuff. Like in terms of this, like the power scaling and some of the powers the Skrulls have got on it, it's just stupid, man.
What ridiculously? What overpowered?
Overpowered. They kill Thanos, like.
Really?
Yeah, no pun intended. But literally. Yeah, but
I like that. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, just overpowered and just ridiculous.
Yeah, I need to catch up on that because obviously there's a few things coming out in there. Did you watch the latest Guardians? Did you see that?
Yeah, I watched it. I really liked it.
It was good.
I'm glad they're sort of done with that cast of characters now.
Yeah, I'm a bit upset by it though. I know this is controversial, and I shouldn't say this, but someone needed to die.
Yeah,
it was too polished. I get he came back to do it, and it was great, and there's a lot to take away from it. It was fantastic on all boards, but for someone had to go. It was too much.
I think Peter should have died. Peter Quill should have died, I think.
Yeah, but someone had to go, or even Raccoon. But obviously he was going on to be the new Guardians
sort of leader. Yeah.
But yeah, for me, I just finished. I was like, it was good. I loved it, but I was like, the minute it finished, I was like, someone had to go. It was just too polished.
Yeah, but Marvel have bought a lot of property now, haven't they? I think like Sony and other stuff. Like, I think, they've got some sort of thing with Spider-Man from Sony, but I think like they're bringing in Hugh Jackman, Wolverine, Deadpool. That is MCU. I just think it's like, I used to like all the old X-Men films growing up, even though there's so many plot holes in them, but they're enjoyable for what they were. Yeah. But the fact they're trying to like retcon all that now and like Scarlet Witch is a mutant and stuff like that, I think it's just like too much going on. Like,
yeah. I think it lost its way with the storyline, definitely.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So we're now going to get into what you're doing now, what you're working towards, and what the ultimation end goal is for you. What your next step is like. So teaching. You said 21, 22. You said that what kind of gave you the to become a PE teacher. But where do you want to get to with it?
I think for me, like, obviously I've done my bachelor degree, got more into like the research and like the analytical stuff, and like, here's the problem we've got in the UK, this is what we're trying to do, this is what the teaching landscape's trying to do, although it's not like going in the way, like, I think more people that are coming from, you know, like going into the profession going forward are like, look, there's a problem with the education system. Obviously, kids are still obese. You know, they're only doing sports up until teenage years, and then a lot of them drop off. Because, like, I mean, it's like me. I play football. I played at uni. I don't play Sunday league anymore. I've dropped out of sport. Obviously, once you, like the gym, once you stop something, it's harder just getting back into it again. There's a lot of drop off. So, like, I think for me, it's like I want to try and motivate people to be more physically active. You know, enjoy sports. Obviously, not everything's going to resonate with you, but how can we try and live a long, healthy, active lifestyle? Because at the end of the day, we want to see our kids, if we have them. We want to see our grandkids. And generally, if you're in shape, you've, like, not just physically, like, just looking in the mirror, but obviously that does good for your mental health, but your physical, social, and mental health, and some could argue spiritual health, are all important. Because it's sort of like that holistic approach of, like, combining all these areas together and putting it towards what health is deemed. Like, if you've got a good friend group, you're going to feel good about yourself, aren't you? You know, what your mate's doing at the weekend, or we're doing a hike, right? That's something to look forward towards at the end of the week.
Yeah.
Because we know what, as you get into adult life, what the 9 to 5 can be like. So there's that. Mundane. You think, like, from the physical benefits, whether it's like walking 10,000 steps a day, running a marathon, just going to the gym once or twice a week, just being a bit active. Obviously, that's going to make you feel better mentally. And if you're staying away from all the negativity of, like, social media, don't try and keep up with the Joneses, whatever these influencers are doing.
Yeah. Or
someone's getting their backside out for money on OnlyFans. I mean, if that makes you happy, fair enough. But at the end of the day, you've got to think, what makes you happy and how can you work towards it? Obviously, YouTube's brilliant because you can look at people on similar journeys to yourself, take bits from each person and try and implement it into your own lifestyle.
Yeah.
So that's a long-winded response.
No, not at all. Not at all. I think it's impactful and it's right. So are you going to be? Are you more in primary level? Are you more secondary school?
I'm going to be doing secondary teaching. Down as 11 to 16, but it'll probably be like A level as well and BTEC, so probably 11 to 18. Because I feel like I can teach more, like, I don't know how you say life skills, but like, because people argue like the education system, it's just trying to push you into jobs. Which it's hard to disagree with that at points, but it's like, you know, you teach like working together, cohesiveness, team building rapport with people, which are all important skills you need to get far in life, any realm of life. Yeah. So I think for me, if I can teach younger people some like of the key skills that you might need to help make life get a bit easier, try and get them to be more physically active, you know, have a look at themselves. You don't want to be, I don't know, you don't want to get to 50, maybe even younger, 40s, overweight, health problems. I can't even walk to the fridge without getting knackered.
Yeah.
Or like getting up out of bed, you know, like playing video games all day, not sleeping well, you know, just drinking, eating, smoking. We don't want to do that. No, you just want to try and be as healthy and active as you can.
Yeah. I think it's obviously it's the future generations what you're teaching, isn't it? And I think you want to ingrain in these people that how important it is to be fit and active. I think if I look back to when I was in school and PP was just like sport. You just went out on the pitch. You did either football, you did whatever, but there wasn't much coaching around about the purpose.
It's like that when I was in school as well, to be honest.
Is it?
Yeah, PE didn't really resonate with me in school. I just wanted to play football. But I think that's...
Has it changed now?
I mean, it has in some respects, but like I have gone into schools in the past and seeing the way the PE is set up and thinking it's very... Like there's health and safety risks here. But I know there's some rules like in football, you can't head the ball now to do with like CTE and stuff. But it's like if you're taking a fixture, which is like taking a game, if I'm taking like year 8 girls football and the ball comes in the box and they don't know how to like brace for a header and it just smacks them in the face, and that's going to do more damage rather than teaching them how to like head a ball comfortably. But yeah, so I think like you just need to find a balance between like coaching people the correct technique, trying to get them to be healthy and physically active.
Yeah. Is it much classroom based now? Is it still all just literally on field?
Generally, like, because I've only done like a few like days here and there in
yeah.
schools, and like I was a TA in a school in Crosby for a bit, but a lot of the PE from year 7 to 9 is very like practical based, whereas like year 10 and 11's like more classroom theory based.
Okay.
Which I think what I'd find enjoyable would be like teaching, you know, like health, fitness, like my sort of specialism.
Yeah,
if we were talking specialisms.
Yeah.
But I think sitting down for GCSE class, year 10, 11 people, teaching them, right, you know, there's 4 calories in a gram of protein.
yeah. Oh, that's
like obviously like the basics and
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
But I think they learn that in like nutrition anyway.
Right. Okay.
Like food tech, but
yeah.
it's just combining bits together. But
yeah. I think it's one of them. I think what would be nice to see is less of an emphasis on it, and just for someone that chooses to go in GCSE, and it being like a basis for everyone. Because how to live long and fit and healthy, in my point of view, is essential for anybody.
Definitely.
I think that should be more of a set routine of knowing how to eat, how to move, how to be fit and healthy. That should be one of the core basics of schooling, in my opinion.
I think in Birkdale High, I hope no one from Birkdale High is watching this. Right. But, well, back in the day, 2012 to 13, when I was in like year 10, 11, I didn't do GCSE PE. Well, I did initially, but I just wanted to play football. So, like, all we would do in year 10 and 11 was play sport if you didn't do GCSE PE. So there was no, like, theory in a classroom learning about health. It was just like, right, we'll play not netball. We'll play basketball, we'll play softball. Which you're not really learning much. No. All my reading's been like YouTube, online reading, peer-reviewed journals and stuff over the years. But I think there's an amazing source of information out there these days anyway.
There is, massively.
Whereas like 10, 15 years ago, six-pack short clubs, Mike Chang and all that.
Yeah, no, it was the same. I think I left school at 2003, 2004, so I'm sure my age now. But it's the opposite for me because I was bigger. I got bullied an awful lot, so I shined away from PE because PE was just literally get onto a pitch, football or running or hockey or tennis, all things that I sucked at because I was bigger, I was unfit, I had low confidence, low self-esteem. So there's a horticultural society in Birkdale back then, and I used to.
Was that when I was there as well?
I used to disappear there. I used to try and get notes so I could escape because I just felt that like anxious about PE. I just wanted to escape. I didn't feel comfortable in that setting because it was all just about based on physical. What you could do physically, and I wasn't great physically.
I hate that like young people are put in a position where they don't want to do PE because they feel like stigmatized because of the way they look and stuff. Like, obviously, I'm only just going into that profession now, but like, I hope like my, not mission statement, but like what I want to do is like try and maybe break down those barriers and walls and think, you know what, just because you're not the fastest in the class, just because you're not the most athletic, you're not the best at, you're not the strongest, it doesn't matter. Like, think, where are you now?
Exactly. Yeah.
Think where you are in a few weeks, then you can look back. No, it's not. I think, I can't remember, it's not formative assessment. I think it's ipsative assessment, if I'm wrong. I don't know. It's like different types of assessing kids, where a lot of the like some of the more modern techniques, they compare themselves against each other in the class or the grade boundaries. You compare yourself to where you were at the start of the year. You know, like whatever your target is, shouldn't be the same as Jim's target.
Yeah, quite right. Yeah.
It's the same with fitness though, isn't it?
It is, exactly.
Who cares what I'm lifting on the bench press? Me, no one else should be bothered. I mean, I do get some of my mates making comments like, is that all you're lifting? Is that it? But it's just banter. Like, honestly, you're in competition with yourself. I mean, you don't have to be in competition with yourself, but as long as you're progressively overloading in some way, shape or form in life, it doesn't have to just be the gym. It could be like going out, trying something new, being active, making more friends and stuff. It's all good.
Quite right. I mean, I'd like to think, that was 20 years ago. Yeah, that would have been 20 years ago.
Getting on.
2003. So I'd like to think things have changed a lot since then in schools now, if I'm honest.
I like to hope so.
But that was my way of getting myself out of that situation. That's why I did what I did. But everything you said there is bob on. I think you're absolutely right there. So what is next for you? So you're about to obviously get into teaching.
Yeah.
What's your future goals? Where do you want to go?
I think because I get 60 credits towards my masters for doing this. Well, being a teacher, you don't necessarily need a masters, but I want to do my masters, but I want it, even though it can be classed as controversial, but I'm not a political person. I would want to go over to like Dubai and maybe work in an international, like teaching British curriculum in an international school for a bit, just to save up money. But I think the end goal is to be like head of department, and then maybe upper management in a school. You know, like curriculums, like structuring the curriculum and stuff.
Oh, cool.
I don't know. I think I'm just too fresh going into my career to really decide, just to be happy.
But it's good to have some aspirations
and get people to be active.
No, it's good.
Definitely.
Okay, so I know you've just said that, but here's another thing that I want to ask you. So I know you've not been in the job really properly.
Yeah.
Can you tell me, so if the government gave you one thing that you could change right now in the schooling system in regards to physical education, what would it be?
Funding.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's not a lot of funding. Like, obviously it depends on the school and the size, but if the school's only got like a small sports hall and you're teaching, or say you can't employ enough PE teachers, and there's like one teacher's got like 40 kids or something.
Yeah.
Like, in such a limited space, like you can't expect to be working miracles with like massive class sizes. I think there's more funding, better facilities, more staffing, maybe support staff like TAs. It can help you give that kid that one-on-one time more, which I think is important for like we're talking about earlier, the holistic development of the child, physical, socially and mentally. So I think funding is an issue.
Yeah. I think that seems to be a general rule with just not schooling, but I think the whole country. I think NHS and the problematic we're having in the NHS are a lot, not all of it, but a lot of it is derivative of the obesity pandemic we're currently in. And the more we tackle that from the ground up, being from schools and from the work that you're doing together into the youth, and how important it is to move more, to eat better and all that.
Have like a domino effect on the rest of the country.
Into future generations and how the country moves on. I think the government needs to be doing more with that. I mean, obviously I can vent about that all day. But yeah, no, I like it. So obviously you've got a YouTube channel as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about your YouTube channel?
I started it 2 years ago as like a semi-informative fitness channel, just giving my like views and philosophy of training, etc. Obviously that changes over time. It was called Jake Newnham Fitness. It's now called Life of Jake. I was going into teaching. I don't want people finding it. But yeah, my most viewed videos are festivals and holidays, so I'm thinking that's not going to look great. But yeah, obviously make videos, what's going on in my life, and I don't know, just a bit impulsive really.
Yeah, okay, cool. I looked before as well, you have still got your fitness Instagram as well, haven't you? That is still up there as well.
Well, I got a new phone before I got robbed in Indonesia. I didn't know my password, so I was logged out of it, but I'm back on my old phone now, so I've got my login to that, but I don't really use it. It's for my bodybuilding more so, but maybe I'll update that at some point. But
do you plan on doing like a fitnessy YouTube channel, like just core fitness because of what you're doing now, or do you plan on continue with what you want?
Maybe at some point I'd do more, but I think like my channel's gonna go more like, because it was like travel based for a bit, it has been fitness, probably go more like PE based going forward, but I don't know, maybe at some point, but it's just finding the time and
along the balance and everything else.
Yeah, I don't know whether do something if I feel like it's a chore. Like I'd only ever do it because I enjoy it. Like I've only ever made videos because I enjoy it.
Yeah, that's good. I watch your videos, mate. I love them.
Cheers.
The quality. But so do you want to share your handle?
Yeah, if you want to find out more about my life and what goes on. No, Life of Jake.
Yeah, Life of Jake.
It's doing all right, that. I think I'm on 290 subscribers.
290, oh,
yeah.
Put me to shame. That's good, mate. That's good. Anything else you want to share while you're here as well?
That's pretty much everything.
So
thanks for having me on.
No, thank you for coming, mate. Much appreciated. Then we'll finish on. So, do you have a closing statement? So, obviously, you're in the fitness health base.
Yeah.
Anything that you'd like to push as like your ending statement towards like the kids of today, or anyone or anything?
Guys, if you are young and impressionable, swerve what you see on TikTok. Like, sleep a lot, eat a lot of protein, and try and be physically active. Just try and be healthy and active. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Swerve drugs, swerve smoking, drink in moderation. Obviously, young people don't drink. But I don't know. Let's just try and be active and make society better.
Boom. There we go. Thank you, Jake.
Thanks, Alan.
Excellent podcast. So as usual, guys, as per usual, give it a comment, give us a follow and a subscribe on all the usual platforms, be it Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and on YouTube. Obviously, Jake, my man here, is he's giving you his handles, and go give him a follow there if you're so tickles you fancy to watch some of his content. But again, thank you again once again, Jake. We'll catch you on another episode soon. And that's us done, guys. That's a wrap.
See you later.
See you in a bit. Take it easy.